This is a series of films that tells the history of contemporary fashion photography as seen through the eyes of models. I was going to say to you, who were your sort of modelling idols or models?
Obviously, you know, being a teenager of the 90s, Kate was always the most haunting image because she also gave leeway. You know, when I was growing up, it was the supermodels. Do you know, the sort of titans of absolute strong femininity, you know, the Naomis, the Cindys and Lindas. And Kate had something so sort of, you know, beautiful, but it's real, but it's really just so enchanting, you know, and you just look at a photograph of Kate and it's just, she's captivating. But also because she was smaller, because she didn't fit the mold, I feel like she really opened the door for models to become a variety of different, you know, looking a different way, not being sort of the powerful, archetypal, you know, Cindy, Naomi, which, you know, I love those girls too. Obviously, how can you not look at Naomi Campbell and just your jaw to literally drop to the ground? I mean, last time I saw her even, I'm like, how? Comes walking in head to toe in a lyre. Gorgeous, flawless every time. But Kate, there's something about her that is like off the beaten path in the most beautiful way. And then there's Krista McMenemy, obviously, and I'd always look at the photographs, those old Peter Lindbergh photographs of her sort of, you know, what was the one? Sort of where she's in this really sort of contorted position,
sort of like her legs
with the black hair, you know,
like a ballerina, but sort of bent back.
There's just this stare that she's off camera, and it's, you know, I'd always look at that and go, that's the kind of model I want to be. That's the kind of model I was really into, sort of how deep she'd take it, you know. It's like something with Kristen, she's a wild card, you know, and you felt it in the photograph.
So partly because you mentioned the fact of the sort of, you know, the beauty of melancholy. And
rather like the look of my boobs there, I'm just going to say.
You do not, or you do?
Love them. Excellent. Wish they were still like that, but anyway.
Scene set for me.
So speaking of that, they shoot horses, don't they?
Yes.
The film, McQueen, many, many years ago, that was the sort of the theme for the fashion show and behind the clothes. And so quite before the casting had gone on, I got a few words that he really, really wanted me to be in the show. And it's funny, I saw Sarah Burton last week actually, and we were talking about the show, and she said, you know, he wanted me in that show as they were coming up with the ideas for the show, and it was very, you know, thank God. I mean, Lee saw that I could really bring that to life. And Michael Clark, the incredible Michael Clark, I mean, he's just fascinating, and he was choreographer, you know, he's the choreographer for the show. And there's always the thing about McQueen shows, art project, art installation, never, you know, it's, the clothes are always incredibly like well crafted. I always say that he's like the Francis Bacon of, you know, fashion. I just feel there's like this, there's the darkness and danger yet absolute beauty. And this was, for him, I think, a more quite feminine show, you know, than one he'd done ever, I think. You know, it was incredibly feminine. But Michael Clark, gosh, he just said, go out there and feel it. Feel that you're in They Shoot Horses, don't they? That you're in the dance marathon, that you've been dancing for days and you're exhausted.
And did he direct you how to move?
He absolutely did. He absolutely did. I mean, he directed all of the models, you know, but I think the first outfit I was in was sort of, we were just dancing, you know, this beautiful sequined gown that we were, you know, so the beginning of the dance marathon, and it was very, very just sort of ballroom dancing. And then this one was when we're meant to be exhausted and we're meant to be delirious and tired, and they had a Portishead song on. It was after, you know, these incredible dancers. It was almost like a horse stampede. I mean, Michael Clark, so with McQueen, the visionary genius was just mind-blowing. And I remember it's almost like the dancers were making the sound of horses, you know, and it was just, you could feel the galloping and the floor sort of moving beneath you. And then it got quiet, and me and this wonderful dancer walked out, and he just sort of threw me around, and I just got lost in it completely. And just, you know, I was like, let's pretend that I'm exhausted and delirious. And it was, you know, I don't think my boobs I don't think they meant to fall out, but it all fell out. And it was profoundly beautiful. I mean, I can't tell you, it was honestly my favorite ever fashion show experience.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's really powerful.
Ever. I mean, it just the ending moment where it's just this spotlight and the Portishead song, and I'm on the floor and he's dragging me. Literally, I'm on the floor just being dragged. And you know Ingrid Sishi?
Yeah.
I just remember seeing Ingrid Sishi just gripping, you know, and it was beautiful, you know, and all things with Lee. I mean, just
incredibly beautiful.
It's just so beautiful. That's what fashion shows can be, you know.
All the models in it were totally convincing in their roles.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes models can act, sometimes they can't.
Right.
But actually, all really convincing. There
but
wasn't
I think
one
sometimes, I think sometimes if you have a great creative team, because you really have to be. The one thing I've realized, because I know quite a lot of actresses, you know, and the one thing I've realized, you just have to really. You can't just say to a model or to anybody, okay, so now you're going to fall over and you're going to do that. You can do that in a shoot and we can do that, you know, but a fashion show is a different thing. But we all had time with Michael Clark. You know, it was like a couple of days before, we had time to get into it. And also this was something that you could just, it was beautiful to get into. I mean, the clothes were there, the music, it was all laid out for you. It wasn't sort of, I don't know, I've had some experiences where people ask you to do things and you're just like, for God's sakes, that's ridiculous, I'm not going to do that. You know, this wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't sort of like, ask the model to, you know, do something that's really not going to, you're just going to look like an idiot, you know.
Let me put up another picture.
Please.
Same sort of subject. That's the picture.
Oh, yes.
Same.
And how incredible was that? The mirrored enclosure, the sort of mental asylum feel to it.
But how dangerous was that?
Terrifyingly dangerous, and I actually fell in that and cut my neck.
Did you?
Yeah. Massively so. It was. I mean.
I'm surprised you didn't lose your eyes.
I practically did. I mean, I didn't, thank God. But so, fitting for this, obviously there was this beautiful creation around my neck, but also an incredibly beautiful yet impossibly moving outfit.
Let me dig it up because it's here, so I'm dig it up.
Yeah, it was really difficult, and there we go. That and all the girls, you know, the shoes. It was when McQueen started doing the sort of no heel shoes, you know, just the Lady Gaga ones, basically, right. You know, and. Yeah, I'm thinking, well, how on earth am I going to make this? You know, how on earth am I going to do this? I'm literally walking on my tiptoes in, you know, I'm not the best in a high shoe. I mean, I do tend to fall quite a bit. I have no sense of space in general. And I make it through the runway. And as I was walking back into the backstage, there was this sort of sheer paper.
Right.
Shadow paper, so you could see the shadows of the models as they were walking in.
Right.
And I tripped and fell and went through the paper and fell and cut all my neck up with those things. But there was silence. Remember Val Garland? There was absolute silence. And then Val just went, oh my God, I thought you were dead. You know, I was like, no, but I do have a couple of cuts.
A few holes here.
But then, you know, again, Lee McQueen, we laughed it off within 2 minutes. And I was like, if I'm walking out there again for the finale, you are holding on to me. And he held so tenderly onto me and made sure that I didn't fall again. But it was funny. And that, you know, it's funny at the time. I think we were all giving Guido such hell for binding us. But looking at that, how stunning. It's funny how a little bit of perspective, you know, because every woman was like, oh God, I want to be beautiful. I want the gorgeous long hair. And Guido was like, shut up, we're binding you. But looking at that house, I mean,
stunning,
absolutely beautiful. And again, it's all the team though. I mean, the Val Garlands, the Pat McGraths, Guidos, Sam McKnight, Eugenes, you know, I mean, it's Charlotte Tilbury's, Lucia, all those people really do massively go into, as you well know, hair and makeup can transform a shoot. I mean, the things you and Val have done together, I mean, just epic, you know.
It's up in that makeup room. It's a sort of quite a strange space.
It is a really strange place because it's where all the gossip goes on, first of all. It's where all the juicy things are happening. But there's also this brilliant transformation also taking forth. I think
it's also a playground.
It is a playground, absolutely.
I've talked to Sam McKnight in detail about it. It's partly because he hates it when I live stream because he says nobody gossips, it's no fun. And he hates that part of it. So because no live stream. I mean,
so true. Get Sam and I in a room and it's just all laid out,
But partly he was saying it's when there isn't the pressure on in the same way there is on a shoot. It's a sort of, when it's in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And it's time to try things out and try pieces of clothing out. It's a very sort of free and creative point.
Yeah.
So
it is. It's a very free and creative point. And also, you're right what you say, it is a playground, and particularly when you've got people like Sam and Val as well, you know, I mean, who just are masters at what they do.
Yeah.
But there is a playfulness always when you're in hair and makeup, but I think it's that playfulness that enables people just to be bold and create, and just they're comfortable, you know. And I think as a photographer, you know that if you have hair and makeup who are confident in their own skills, because I always feel that on a shoot, if a hairdresser or a makeup artist isn't confident, the makeup, they'll always hold back, and then we'll always be ending up back in the room, and we'll be redoing it again. And if you just, even confident in just doing nothing, you know, and just letting it evolve, you know. It's that, it's not just confident in creating this massive major look, it's also confidence in the subtleties, you know, and that's, in my opinion, why the greats are greats, is because they know. They just know, again, it's an instinct of this here will do that, you know.